Grand Rising, peace and love. Welcome. I'm so grateful to be able to even sit here, gather my thoughts. Grateful for this Friday. Conundrums of Blackness, episode 3, parenting part 1. Conundrums. Conundrums to me are layered issues. Issues that a lot of people would rather not deal with or reflect on or think about, admit, acknowledge. The older I get, all the way back to the youngest memories that I have still, I'm learning there is a conundrum to Blackness. There is a conundrum to being misclassified and aligning wholly with what the United States has rendered as Black. And not to complain, just trying to break down the different layers and the facets of all of these issues. That even I can speak from experience on, one being a parent, one being a divorced parent, one being a misclassified Black female parent. Um, all of the stereotypes and the assumptions and it's been really a force to reckon with and try to understand what exactly is going on with us as a people and our families. It actually takes sitting down and looking at the family, looking at the roles everyone plays in the family, and looking at what actions people are actually taking. And it's stuck with me simply because I've just went through graduation. I just watched a child that I gave birth to get educated for over 12 years, 14 years. Let's see, Head Start twice, kindergarten first, Head Start, kindergarten one. So that's 12, 13, 14, 15 years of education. And actually, I would say our babies learn from the time they come home, or actually from the time they come into this world, they're learning from us. Now, the us, that's a catch when it comes to our families. Not saying that we're the only people that experience broken families, because I'm sure that we are not. But from my experience and from the experience of most of the people that I'm around, I could only speak from a lens of the misclassified Black person, the conundrum. I think about me as a parent, and there were a lot of things that I had to change and unlearn to even pull this off the way that I have. And it wasn't easy because the village isn't well. The family isn't well. The mother isn't well. The father isn't well. The relationships are so tainted with the prejudices that we deal with in the society. It's bleeding into our families. I've been called a welfare mom more times than I can count. And it's odd to me that that is even a thing to say to someone who is successfully alone and doing the work of the village, the community, the institutions, and the parents, doing it alone. It is hard. I often sit here and I wonder, how in the world did I pull this off and still be able to still have respect from my child? That's hard to do when you're seen as less than by your total surrounding. It's hard for you to show your children value in a society that devalues you. So, but it can be done. But that takes helping a child, teen, young adult understand basically Africana studies, who we are to the United States, who the United States is to us, who the United States is to our family, who the United States is to our future and our past and our present. That's a heavy load for a youth to understand. Some, you know, it's so many layers going on that I can sit here and think back on this 18 years that I chose to become the parent that my child actually needed. I don't really understand why it was so hard and so difficult, but I do know that, being misclassified as Black, there are so many weights that come with that in the society and in our own households and in our own the own way we treat each other and see each other and view one another and judge one another and hold each other by standards that some of us don't even replicate ourselves. It's just a never ending cycle of toxic fumes. So a lot of us isolate, we withdraw from the village, the family, the structure that we are connected to by blood because we don't get along. We don't value one another. We don't see each other as part of ourselves. And I'm grateful that I didn't lose that perception when it came to my parenting. I cannot force a man, a woman, a grandmother, an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, anybody to be anyone but who they are. But what I could do was try to be a good mother, a support system, even if that meant me learning new ways of thinking, seeing, comprehending, perceiving, knowing. To me, for a person that I brought into this world and did not ask to be here, I feel like that's the least I can do. And this is how I got on this journey. Becoming a parent really changed me and made me want to know what is wrong with us, what happened to our families, Why do men treat women the way that they do? Why do our women treat men the way that we do? Why do we abandon our children? Why do we why do we not replicate family, nation, community, neighborhood in a positive way? And I know things in the past have been ugly for us as a people. I'm studying it now. I'm dealing with this historical society and reading some of these documents and learning some of these revelations that have been buried within our DNA intentionally. I know there are stories to tell, and a lot of us are acting out, repeating, replicating things that have happened over and over and over and over and over and over. I get that, but what how change starts in one person. And I know from the trajectory of my bloodline, I have changed a lot of the directions that a lot before and after me have went in. And it's a glorious time, but it's also sad because it's like when I look around, my family's gone. I'm so grateful for my shelter family during this graduation um phase. I'm so grateful for the family members that I met, you know, during my homelessness because of choices that I've made to better myself and become the parent that my daughter actually deserved. She actually deserved a good parent. She needed family, and I looked around and no one was there. So, I hear, well, these women, they picked the wrong guy and then they blame all the men. Well, I don't blame anyone, but I do know that this society is not well. The black family is not well. Now, if I'm wrong, then I should be in the crazy house because there's no way I should have a supportive, loving, um, wealthy family support. And I sit here and say this. I'm grateful I was able to reconnect with my biological mother, even when I think about the family that she was born into. She never really had a chance, and it's like who is going to bear the responsibility of this neglect and abuse and all of these things that no one wants to acknowledge? Who's going to accept the responsibility of the weight of these things happening but us, the ones that's being born into it? I was born into a mess. And how people slept for 40 years or more knowing these dark, ugly secrets is beyond me. And maybe why they had blood pressure problems. But where does it end? Where was the healing going to come between two generations, me and my mother? Where was the healing going to come? It was never going to come if I hadn't have done something about it, or say my daughter got to a certain age and was looked around and didn't see her family and was like, what happened to everybody? Where is everybody? Or my grandchild or great great grandchild, who knows? Had I not done the work just to know just to know. Read in the Moynihan report. Even though I know there's a lot of bias, but I know there's still truth to a lot of things that we face and a lot of us are ignoring over and over generationally. And I can't speak to no one but myself because I experienced a life that I wanted to be rescued from. When I tell you, I'm still trying to find the off button to this faucet of information that I won't say I'm forced, but that I wanted to know because, like I said, we don't just exist out of nowhere. That's one thing for sure. We all have a past, and it's longer than our memory even can fathom. Sometimes you have to go back to see what was done wrong, what went wrong, what mistakes were made. Us as a people, we have so many issues. There's no way I should have parented alone, divorce or not. There's no way I should have been the only one with custody. But people make choices and it affects the entire planet. Like the whole trajectory of one's life is affected. And every person you're going to come in contact with by choices that people have made for you and choices you make for yourself as well. There's so many layers. Parenting while black is difficult dealing with the society, of course, but it's even more interesting when you go inward and deal with your own and your own family and your own community and your own, your own frequency. It's just as interesting. And I really don't have a lot of hope that things will change on a like large scale. I do know individually is there's hope and for individuals because eventually a lot of people like me, I got tired. I got fed up and tired of being a part of a conundrum and not actually knowing that I'm part of a conundrum. And it didn't take long for me to figure it out, especially being dark skinned. I learned at home, I learned at school, I learned outside with the friends. And I don't know, I guess we've normalized abusing one another and seeing each other as less than. I guess we're really a society who really embraces this momentum. And I'm just, some of us are complacent and happy with the way the society is, I would assume. I'm not. I really would love to see families having more, more respect for one another, more value within themselves, being able to um, take care and be a real village for these children who have so much to face in this ugly world by themselves, being misclassified as black. I mean, that in itself is a conundrum because being black means that your identity is tied to nothing but slavery in the United States. You don't exist pre-United States. And that's just unacceptable for me. My DNA doesn't even say that. So it's just a big conundrum when you take on an identity as problematic, as black, as like really who God made you to be in a society who has thwarted. I mean, it's like if the bad guy is the bad guy and everyone against you named you the bad guy, like why would you assume that role if it's not who you really are? And then everything that comes with it. The black man, the black woman, the woes between the black man and the black woman, pointing the finger, who's to blame? Oh, well, if the United States did this, it's not my responsibility, it's nobody's responsibility. So we're just going to be stuck on this hamster wheel forever and ever and ever. Children being born, forgotten, neglected, and we just accept it like it's okay. How is that not a conundrum? How is that acceptable? How is that okay? Is it okay? Is it reversible? Is the damage reversible? I have so many questions. Like, I took a lot of insults these past 18 years, and it really changed me. It even changed my child. But I have peace and love in my heart, and this is a layered podcast when it comes to conundrums of blackness and the visions that I have for the discussions that I'll be just shedding light here to all of the parents who are misclassified as black. Um, I salute you and I commend you and I applaud you and I really stand with you because I have learned that there are real barriers out here that some of us know like the back of our hands, and there's a whole population of people who think we are just making these things up, and real lives are being affected, and these effects are being ignored consistently, generationally. And I don't know, I guess the more I study and research my own lineage, and the more that I can comprehend how we got here, hopefully I will be able to raise some questions or just plant seeds for thoughts, so that if there's any family members or people out there that are, really having a tough time with blackness. I do. I can admit that. Now, the power of black power is something totally separate from me. I'm a true thinker, and everything does not connect all the time. For me, black has so many uses on such a huge spectrum. I don't know how safe that is for a people to utilize as an identity, considering all of the baggage that comes with it. That's not to say I can't separate myself from slavery because my blood says I'm on both sides of it. I have enslavers' blood and I have some that were enslaved. And I also have free people. And I also have more than that going on. There's such a smushing of the black and the white to make this new identity for purposes of the United States government, state and localities, and the society, it's just hard for me because I am a warrior against abuse. I won't say a survivor, I'll just say I'm a warrior against abuse. I can't mindfully align myself with something that I know causes harm. I mean, even though the society is going to see me as what they want to see me as, I can't consciously say I'm proud to be targeted. I'm proud to be stereotyped. I'm proud to be treated unfairly. I'm proud to be number one on the list to make sure that I'm going to pick up all the prejudices one can find. Like, I can't, I can't consciously do that. Yes, blackness happened. The United States version of blackness. Yes, it happened to me. It happened to us. Yes, it did. I don't know. Other people may not have this history that I have because you don't have my parents, but I have a lot of American history in my blood. How does that affect my family today? Is that the reason that we're all just torn apart? I don't think families just exist to want to not exist in their natural form. So, again, this is part one of Conundrums of Blackness. Just some of my thoughts that I really, wrestle with, being under this label of black, which completely strips me of my true history, heritage, and lineage. Um, there's so many people on my tree who never accepted that, and I listen. I do know I'm mixed. I'm not 100% African. Um, I do know that, and I just, it's a real process being part of American history. It's traumatizing, and and I look around at our families, and it shows. I look around us, and it shows. So just identifying it, not pointing fingers. I don't blame my ex-husband. I don't blame men, but I have studied enough to know um, epigenetics, generational trauma, generational lineage, characteristics, personalities. These things are valid connections to some very disturbing things, and if you don't deal with stuff, stuff piles up, and it the residuals show in the bloodline, they show in the families, they show in the grandchildren, it shows. And I just want to do better. I want to live better. I want to love better. I want to feel better. I want to think better. I want to be better. In order to do that, I've got a lot of shadow work to do, and I've been doing this now for a while. It's manifesting in a lot of different ways, and I'm just really grateful for this process. I'm grateful for our new subscribers. Please, if you have not, please comment. Let me know where you're viewing from. We will be doing lives a little bit different now. We're going to be going out and about, getting some good sun soon as the summer kind of balances out. As a misclassified Black parent, I was very proud of the achievements that we have received and gracefully came to these past few years. But I will say I also have a sadness and a mourning, more so for those that are still alive and capable of being positive reinforcements and family members and supportive, and and it's just really sad that people will rather choose ego over doing what's right by your loved ones, and I don't point fingers because my family have done it too, to my mother and myself, and probably more on back and back and back. This probably is a remnant of the foundation of this place, which had to destroy us in order to exist. So I give a lot of grace now that I know a lot of this stuff we have to realize is not personal. A lot of the shadow work that needs to be done, a lot of the um, pointing out of the actions and the adverse reactions that we go through as people, parents, children, family members. If we can't come to a place where we can express what's happening, you know, 18 years is a long time. If a baby can grow up and explain to you what they see, feel, hear with their own senses, why can't we as adults, parents, you know, family members, support systems for these youth, why can't we be what they need? And it's just really unfortunate that a lot of the families are going to go in this disintegrated, just decimated direction for generations because no one is willing to do the work. Set the ego aside and do what is best for us as a people. It's not even about blame anymore. It's about who's willing to do the work to get it fixed. Dr. Umar was right. I agree with what he said. I know a lot of people ain't gonna like that. I really don't care, and it goes both ways. It goes both ways. I agree with what he said. I even enjoyed Dana with the data's breakdown. I actually enjoyed it because I agree. And again, it goes both ways. The women and the men have to that name that that those words have definitions and attributes. That's why they don't mean the same thing. And it's just a shame, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I was able to experience being a parent, even though it was traumatizing and hard. And I probably will never, ever, ever do that again. Ever, 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 ever. I'm grateful for my baby, and I apologize to her all the time that our people are in such a bad place, that they can't be what, you know, the village, the family, the support system. That we need. I even appreciate my mother, even though she's on a feeding tube. She showed up for the baby. She was so happy. She didn't even know Gina was old as she was because we haven't seen her in so long. I'm just grateful for who I do have left, which is very few people. My sister, my mom, my new family cousins that I'm meeting with the genealogy research that we're doing, and we're working through a lot of trauma. Some of us have been through some hardships, But we're pressing on, we're loving on our children, we're trying to not become a complete black statistic, but really trying to do the best we can to provide some form of stability for the families that we have left. Yesterday, my brother be murdered 26 years, and it hasn't gotten any easier. It hasn't gotten any easier. But, I'm just grateful. Grateful for this opportunity to be able to share my thoughts. Happy Friday. Welcome to Friday, June the 23rd, 2023, 6:31 p.m. on the East Coast. Conundrums of Blackness, number 3, parenting part 1. I want to thank you for joining me. Please like, please send me a subscription. We will be here week after next Friday for part 2 of parenting. Please be safe and aware. Check on your loved ones. Be super safe. I love you.